Bruce and Dan here. You know, most of the time the voice work we do at Fullcast Audio is pretty straightforward. We go for a realistic sound because we're doing realistic fiction. But every once in a while we get to crack loose with something that's a bit wackier and a bit more fun when the text allows for it. And I've asked one of our top cracker-loosers, Dan Bostick, artistic director, to give you an example of how the voice can range up and down over various wacky characters. So one of your top voices, one of my favorites of the ones you've done, is Merciless Marvin the Magnificent in two books, The Great Cheese Conspiracy and The Great Christmas Kidnapping Caper. So give me a little Marvin.
A little Marvin. Marvin was based on a man I loved very much, my late Uncle John. So we made him from the Bronx, so he said theater, where most of us say theater, but that's wrong.
I know that you drew on your family for another character, which was the relatively evil Coach Croc in Tim Green's Football Genius.
Yes, I took my my late father's Texas drawl, my late father who I adored, and though I'm sure he would forgive me because he loved what I did in performance. I put him on Coach Croc, so the only remnant of my father on Coach Croc is his drawl, because he was a mean and nasty guy.
Somebody who is not mean and nasty at all, although he's quite volatile, and is a character that you've received a lot of accolades for because he's just so much fun when you do him, is the impetuous Chef Vlad from Ken Apple's Matt Cruz books, Airborne, Skybreaker, and Star Climber.
He's one of everybody's favorites. He was about 80% Bela Lugosi and about 20% Robert De Niro. When you discovered someone's pet in his cooking pot, I remember he declaimed, "Whose monkey might this be?"
I gave Dan a real challenge quite a while ago. Well, not that long ago. He'd been playing the character Ian Hunter in my books, The Unicorn Chronicles. And he'd also been portraying a character named Rocky, a delver. And in the fourth book, I brought Rocky and Ian together, so Dan had to play many scenes opposite himself as Ian and Rocky. We're going to cut away to a little studio video to let you see how that went.
I believe he has my daughter.
And suddenly, all the pieces connected as Rocky remembered the things Kara had told him while they were traveling together.
You are Kara's father.
Ian Hunter looked at him in surprise.
How do you know that?
Kara is my friend. We have been imprisoned together, traveled together, saved each other's lives.
You really got to cut loose when we did some cross-gender casting and asked you to be the old lady in the swamp in the Moon Goblin Me books.
It was a lot of fun. I'd already been playing a couple of other characters,
So I had to go about as high as I'd ever gone in my vocal range and put a little age on it, take the teeth away, making it waver and quaver so that everything she spoke came from great experience.
And as a sneak preview of a book that's not released yet, but another Moon Goblin Me story, The Naughty Nork, there was a character, I think one of the harder things I've ever asked you to do, the Dangly Boo.
The Dangly Boo was big and gooey, and so for that, the voice had to seem to be not really have a spine, so it had to change, and it had to be fairly bass because he covered up whole people.
Finally, we're going to go to the very first thing we ever recorded for Fullcast Audio, a short story of mine called Clean as a Whistle, where you had to be a demented Scottish brownie. So give us a bit of the brownie.
Very old Scottish brownie.
Yes.
He's a little tiny creature and incredibly fastidious, and he had to clean up after the dirtiest, messiest teenager in Minnesota.
All right, now I'm going to give you a real challenge.
Okay.
I'm just going to call out the character's name. I'm not going to do it in the order we did these, so you just got to, I'm going to say, call the character's name and just let you switch from voice to voice to voice.
Oh, boy. All right.
Okay, start with the Dangly Boo.
Well, the Dangly Boo was down here. Give me more.
Marvin.
Marvin's up here. I discovered the world's largest store.
Coach Croc.
Coach Croc is down here. Get that kid the holy heck out of here.
Old lady in the swamp.
The old lady in the swamp gives very specific instructions which you must follow.
And Chef Vlad.
Whose monkey might this be?
And let's wrap with our favorite, the brownie.
Kids, make sure to clean your room.
Oh, good advice that they probably won't take.
Probably not.
This is Bruce and Dan signing off.
Thanks.